Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming watch. So I've got an update for you guys on this massive storm system that's been charging its way across the eastern U.S. I know I haven't done an update in a pretty long time. It's been pretty quiet, not many storm systems happening right now during the, kind of springtime right now, but what we've got is definitely this storm right here in the southeast, and this one brought up enhanced risk on the severe weather percentages yesterday. So there was a mini outbreak yesterday. I don't want to say tornado outbreak or severe weather outbreak, but there was a big bunch of severe thunderstorms that rolled across the Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma area, like these three states. And there was sadly a very strong EF3 tornado that I don't remember where that hit. I think it was somewhere in Oklahoma or Kansas. I don't remember, but this whole area that I'm circling here in red was slammed by severe weather last night. So, my thoughts and prayers are out to you guys affected by the storm. But this storm continues tracking eastward. As you can see, there's still severe weather ongoing here. This is going to track towards the eastern coast. So we'll see more severe weather impacting the eastern West states tomorrow into tomorrow evening. Now, I think the strongest point of storms is probably going to be a little bit farther south. So you're talking about like the Carolinas, that kind of area, Delmarva. But anywhere in like the Northeast or like the Mid Atlantic, if you guys are wondering, you'll definitely get hit by at least one thunderstorm. You may see some stronger thunderstorms, but really what you're gonna get hit by is this, and this is actually going to strengthen a lot before hitting you guys. So it's gonna look like, if you look at the radar right before the storms, travel through New Jersey, you will see that these storms will be very strong. They'll look very intimidating, but they will actually weaken very greatly, and I'll tell you guys why. So basically, what's going to be happening is tomorrow here in the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast is going to be very warm. My high for tomorrow is 75 degrees, and I'm on Long Island. So that shows you that the only way that this storm is moving is because of this cold air. So there's going to be a cold air mass that's going to be catching up with the system, and it's going to be pushing it off to the east. So what does that do? The cold air really de-strengthens and weakens the storm system. So the thunderstorms will decrease in intensity. So where the warmer air is, that will be where the stronger storms are. So I mean, right off the bat, you can tell that this is definitely going to be farther south because that's obviously where the warmer air is going to be. So you're thinking that rather than up here in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, as there is some warmer air left over because of these Great Lakes regions, that's this storm still hasn't been weakened completely because this cold air hasn't really it hasn't completely started pushing the storm well off to the east. As you can see, the movement of this system is very slow. So once you start seeing this storm kind of starting to get a little quicker with its movement, that shows you when the cold air mass is going to strengthen. So the severe weather, you'll now, after what I explained, you can see that the severe weather is a lot more likely right here in the coastal regions of the southeast. I would say mainly for South Carolina, North Carolina and South Carolina. You guys are going to get hit very hard by some very strong storms tonight into tomorrow. I know it's not raining yet, but once we get past the like midnight hours of tonight, you're going to start getting some heavy downpours that are going to be moving into the area. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty active night for you guys in the southeast. So just stay weather aware and be safe out there. So we're now going to be looking briefly at our alerts because we don't have much going on right now. So what we've got is basically we've got this freeze warning. So like I just said, with that cold air. Well, this kind of shows you why kind of how that cold air is very strong and what impacts this is bringing. So you know how it rains a lot with thunderstorms, and all that rainwater is going to freeze if the temperatures can get to a 32 degrees or below, and that is definitely possible in spring. There's still frost. Frost is a big thing that can really cause a lot of trouble in spring, and this is basically what we've got here. So all that water, that rainwater that fell yesterday, that is all going to freeze potentially if the temperature gets cold enough. Where do I think the most, the highest freeze potential is going to be? Well, I think it's going to be farther north because I think the northwest area of this region here is where you're going to have the highest potential for frozen, you know, kind of conditions because the cold air has made it all the way to the eastern U.S. So basically, the strongest point of the cold air is where it originates. That's what I think. So where it originates is you'd think it's probably the northwest. I think overall, though, that today is just going to be a pretty calm day for pretty much the western U.S. More the eastern U.S. There's a little bit of flooding concerns. There's that severe weather, but otherwise, I think that there shouldn't be too much happening. Then you've got this severe weather statement that goes out for parts of southern and central Missouri, parts of western Illinois, and then also some parts of southeastern Kansas. So that is actually that's just from the severe thunderstorms that went through yesterday. So this should expire in a few hours if it's not expiring in a few minutes. So you don't really need to pay attention to this. Just that freeze warning, and then that's pretty much it. So we're now going to be moving on to the southeast. So what we've got going on in the southeast, like I've been saying, is the severe weather. So we're going to break this down pretty much hour by hour. So right now it's 8:38. This is Eastern time because I also live in the Eastern U.S. So around 8 o'clock, this was about 30 minutes ago, you can see that you do have a squall line that is formed here, and then that's also going to be moving off to the east. So this entire line of supercell storms that have kind of came together and then just plowed through the eastern U.S. in one straight line. This is going to increase the damaging wind threat because, the wind from this cold front is so strong that it is kind of creating this line of thunderstorms that's going to be pushing off to the east. So the way that we see an indicator of damaging wind gusts is definitely the squall line, and this happens in every mini outbreak or whatever you want to call it, an outbreak. But in this case, you still have that squall line. So this formed looks like a few hours ago, so maybe around 6:30, 7 p.m. You started seeing those thunderstorms come together, and then they actually break apart for a little bit. So we're into the overnight hours of tonight. So this is like the middle of the night, and it's you're getting downpours here in western Tennessee, western and pretty much all Tennessee. I really hope you guys can stay safe out there with the floods. So luckily, it shouldn't be too bad with the danger of the floods because everyone's going to be, asleep and not as much people are going to be out on the roads than during the day. So the worst that's going to happen is that you're going to wake up to a flooded street, but I hope none of you have to go through that. But those shouldn't be too bad. And then they move off to the Carolinas, and this is where they go severe. So now you're starting to see in those reds and oranges, maybe getting a little curvy here. But you can see, like, if we switch back to what they looked like in Tennessee here, they almost look like just a regular summer like thunderstorm. But now, once they move across, the Carolinas and approach the coast, you see that they get a lot more intimidating and stronger because this low pressure system reforms and it kind of re-strengthens, is what I like to say. But once this moves off the coast of the Carolinas and it moves into warmer areas like warmer waters, that will obviously re-strengthen, but that won't be impacting any of you guys. So what to expect from this? Well, I think flooding threat is the highest concern for this. Severe weather mainly off to the east, so mainly for the Carolinas, some parts of Georgia, and maybe some of Virginia. The rest is off to the northeast. And then this should be, tonight and tomorrow for the timing and duration of the system. Then by the 23rd, which would be Sunday, by your Sunday, you should have a pretty sunny and nice Sunday. So we're going to move on now to looks like the northeast U.S., and we're going to be breaking down this as well for you guys. So, it's going to start out in the Ohio Valley. We definitely know that already. This was 6 p.m. today, and you can see you've already started seeing those thunderstorms move their way into Ohio State, and then Pennsylvania, and eventually New York State. But then here comes this low pressure system. This is 2 a.m. tonight. And you can see that the rain is going to be pretty heavy, but this is all mainly off to the west. So this is like areas around the Appalachian Mountain region. So West Virginia, southern Ohio, a lot of southern Ohio. And then I don't even know what part of a state this is. If I had to guess, I don't know. This yeah, I don't know what part of a state this would be, but just in this area you would see that obviously the storms are going to be stronger off to the west. So like I said earlier, on the detailed breakdown on when we're looking at the current radar, these storms are going to look very intimidating once they get around Pennsylvania. Look at this. They get really, you see a lot of red and orange. That's all like intense rainfall, possible hail, damaging wind gusts, and then this gets even closer. This approaches New Jersey, New York City. So you're thinking New Jersey and Long Island and southern New York State. I think you'd probably think, oh, they're going to get hammered out there. But just before this strikes, it almost looks like it tries to retreat, but it just ends up weakening itself, and then there's that squall line. Believe it or not, you do have a squall line showing up here. It's a very large one. This is stretching all the way from the Carolina coastline, all the way up into New York State. But this will be impacting. This will be going through the New York City metro area, as well as Trenton, New Jersey, and areas kind of like that. And that is going to pose a damaging wind threat. So, if we saw any severe weather, it would most likely just be, some damaging wind gusts, maybe some tree damage. But really, I think it's just going to be pretty breezy overall tomorrow, and then tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, you'll start seeing those wind gusts increasing, and then soon enough, after you start, kind of noticing that these wind gusts are going to start increasing, you'll start seeing those thunderclouds, really start rolling in. It'll get pretty dark. But after that, you'll have some spotty leftover showers and maybe some snow showers, but way off to the northwest. That's where we're going to see them, not anywhere in the northeast. And then this storm will continue to be working its way out of the northeast once you get into your Sunday morning. So it's going to be pretty cloudy on Sunday. I'll tell you, but it might clear up a little a little later in the afternoon. But you can see that you're pretty much surrounded by precipitation. This band of precipitation left over from the storm that's going to be impacting tomorrow. And then on the backside, you've got some snow showers. I don't know why I'm clicking for sounding all the time, but leftover snow showers and rain showers. So this is the SPC for severe thunderstorm percentages, and we're just going to be breaking down kind of what's to be seen here. And we're only up to a 2 out of 5 risk for today. We have a slight risk. It's a very weird area. It's very, very tight here. Not heavily populated. You don't really have any major cities in this in this risk, but there is Brownsville, Texas, Harlingen, Texas, Mission, Texas, Pharr, Texas. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Edinburgh, Texas, and all of you guys are all in this slight risk. But for the slight risk, there is no tornado threat with this. There's a very small wind threat, and then the hail, there is actually a hatched risk for that same exact area. So what we've been seeing throughout this entire outbreak of thunderstorms, we've seen that hail threat really start ramping up, especially across the areas a little bit farther east. So, you know, I think it was Oklahoma, or I don't know, it was Oklahoma or Kansas. Yesterday, we saw baseball size hail. I mean, um, there was very large hail in Oklahoma yesterday, but this whole entire area was hit very hard, and this is going to continue into parts of southern Texas. It should be over by now, so probably by the time you're watching this video, if you live in these areas, you're probably done with these storms. So, mainly what we're going to be focusing on is the storms obviously east, and then you got two areas of marginal risk. So, this is a 1 out of 5 risk, excuse me, that goes out for this part of northern and northeastern Louisiana. Got parts of Mississippi, a lot of Mississippi in this as well. And then southeastern Arkansas, you guys are in this as well. And then the next, area, you got two areas here included in this marginal risk. You've also got, parts of Ohio, parts of western Pennsylvania, and then parts of western New York State. So that's actually including Buffalo, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Lexington, Fayette, Kentucky, and then Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I don't know if I'm saying that right either, but we're gonna move on to the day 2 risk. Now, this is where the severe storms return. This is where they re-strengthen, and you can see that you've got a. This isn't. This is like this doesn't count as a percentage for severe weather. It just tells you that the areas in this like really light green, it just tells you that severe weather is possible, but you're going to get hit by some thunderstorms. That goes out for parts of New York State, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Long Island. That's the same exact area I showed you guys on the FV3. Like I said here, the storms are going to look intimidating just before hitting these exact areas, but then the more severe storms will be farther south. So, level 1 out of 5 risk for this part of southeastern Pennsylvania, parts of the Delmarva area, and then also parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and then also stretching into the panhandle of Florida. So this is including Philadelphia, Jacksonville, Florida, Greensboro, North Carolina, Orlando, Florida, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And then that slight risk. Now, the slight risk is a level 2 out of 5 risk. So, you may see some stronger storms, potentially severe thunderstorms in this risk. For Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Virginia Beach, Virginia, and then Raleigh, North Carolina, North Fork, Virginia. So, it's a pretty heavily populated area for this. But the worst that's going to happen is you'll have some, locally damaging wind gusts and then maybe some large hail. But there shouldn't be there shouldn't be anything that's too bad here. As you can see, you've got a 15% wind risk and a 15% hail risk. So, it's not looking like this is going to be very bad. But we'll obviously continue watching this. But just make sure you stay safe if you're in the way of this, and then by day 3, this is Sunday. You're only up to level 1 out of 5 for the area of southern Texas. So we're now just going to be briefly looking at the north central, because I know you guys are being impacted by this. So this is mainly over, but one thing we got to talk about is snow squalls. Now, snow squalls, I know you're thinking, but wait, it's not winter, it's spring. Well, yes, it's spring, but there is also, remember, don't forget, there's a cold front on the backside of this, and that cold front is really going to be, that's going to bring chilly Arctic air from the areas far north of Canada, and that's going in a highway for that cold air is right through the north central. So that means that when you have precipitation mixing with a highway for cold air, that's just going to bring you heavy snow. And these snow squalls, I mean, this is what you can see here. They're very tiny, little blobs here of very extremely heavy snow. So periods of it could be 5 to 10 minutes of extremely heavy snowfall, and it's wind-driven snow. So the snow is basically moving this way, like towards you, and it's not coming down, it's coming towards you. And these wind gusts are just going to be whipping. But this is all rotating around this low pressure center here. But I mean, there's going to be a period of a few hours of, localized, you know, no, I don't want to say damaging because that's not really a term you would use for this, but like dangerous snow squalls. The winds are going to be potentially the winds are going to be so strong that they could potentially even be damaging. But this like extreme dark blue is just indicating that there's going to be very heavy snow. And when you see this like area of just scattered like uh, areas of intense snowfall, that indicates that snow squalls. And then this year, severe weather, but it's off to the east, and we already covered this area of the Ohio Valley. Then maybe some rain for parts of central South Dakota. So I'm thinking North Dakota. You guys are gonna stay all snow for this because it's not very warm up there, obviously. But then in South Dakota, it's just warm enough for a little bit of backside rainfall. But with these snow squalls, maybe they could drop an inch or two of snow. But probably it's not going to stick for a very long time. But you will definitely have some rounds of intense snowfall, maybe some intense snowfall rates. So let me know what you get. Tell me in the comment section below if you live in the North Central. Even if you're not going to get too much snow, if you're not forecasted to get too much snow, just if you get any snow, please let me know. I'd love to know. But then you'll see on the backside for your Saturday and Sunday, you should be mainly dry, but tomorrow will be relatively wet. And then we're just going to be looking at the outlook, this latest GFS model for the upcoming weeks. So we've got a very busy week ahead of us in terms of weather. Because once the system gets out of the way, you're stuck with a warm front that is trying to get back into the U.S., and then a cold front that's dominating the northern area of the U.S. So you can see that this warm air is now it's put all the way into the western U.S., and then this cold air takes over for the eastern U.S. That's just going to cause more tension in the atmosphere, which causes more severe weather and more rainfall and precipitation to start kind of, I don't want to say forming, but, kind of coming together. And this is going to be starting around the 25th. So here you go. You got another round of severe weather possible, maybe some thunderstorms. And then this storm system doesn't really do much. It splits into two once it crosses, the Missouri River, and you've got one batch of rainfall that's going to be moving off to the Atlantic. Maybe it'll go through the southeast, and then you've got another leftover band of rain that I really think could, start a storm system, and then it does. It forms a low pressure system of its own. Kind of has the same exact track as the one just before it. And then by the 28th, that will move out, maybe take a little jump at the northeast. And then by the 30th, the morning of the 30th, you start seeing a low pressure system spawn. I don't want to say spawn, but form just off the coast of southern Louisiana, and there are tropical waters out there. So technically, this could be a tropical system. I don't want to say it's going to be a tropical system now because it's very early. It's 210 hours out, but we're going to continue looking at this. So you can see that you don't see any characteristics of a tropical-like system. You don't see any rotation with this, but you don't see any weakening. So you see this track, it goes directly eastward, a little bit northeast. So this is going to take a jump at the Carolinas. Then this really starts to get going, and once this moves off the coast of North Carolina, it re-intensifies, and now you start seeing those rain bands start slowly rotating around. And then this goes for the coast of Maine, Massachusetts, and the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So what am I expecting? Well, I don't exactly know for sure what this is going to turn out to be, but I'm thinking that this could be a potential, like tropical like system. I think that this could get named, but that's very exciting. But it's gonna be pretty interesting to see. But we're getting into the beginning of May, so this is May 1st, and look how strong this is. Before I even look at that, I mean, look at these rain bands. They're all rotating in that counterclockwise direction. It looks completely organized. As you can see, this if I go back here, you can see that like the lines here are all indicating that this, these are the rain bands that are all, kind of connected into this one low pressure center, which actually will drop to a 981 millibar low pressure, and then this will all be rotating. You could see all this warm air here, these warm air, kind of, I don't want to say jet streams, but warm air lines here. These are all kind of like wrapped around the low pressure center of this. So that is a very good sign indicating a hurricane, or not a hurricane, but tropical like system. Because obviously, I don't want to say hurricane this early, but I mean, really, the GFS wants this to get going. I mean, look at all this precipitation, thumping of snow for a lot of Maine. This is extremely heavy snow. You could see, a foot or two of snow. I don't want to shout out just a bunch of snowfall totals that are possible, but a very large amount of snowfall for all of Maine, and then a ton of rainfall just off the coast of Maine. I mean, this could be. I mean, if this eventually does actually get named, I think that this might even, completely change track, and this could actually make a direct hit on, let me circle the area, just the entire Northeast in general, because this storm is going to get very big. What the GFS is, according to what the GFS says. But I feel like this whole area could be at risk for a very strong tropical-like system to slam, the eastern coast of those areas. But this will finally move out, and it'll drop to eventually a 966 millibar low pressure. That is a extremely low pressure. You don't see that very often. So when you hear 966 millibar low pressure, I mean, you've got it. That is a very, very strong and organized storm, whatever it may be. It may be a winter storm, it may be a severe weather event, a hurricane, a tropical like system. But man, it's going to be strong, and that is going to bring a lot of precipitation. But after that, you're pretty calm, because all this tension in the atmosphere has really worn out itself. And if you notice, there isn't any cold air left, really. You're just stuck. The entire country is filled up with warm air. And then you do get another little system here, this little low pressure center here, and then that will move across the eastern U.S. probably around May 4th. Um, and then that doesn't look like it'll form anything too bad. And then that's pretty much the end of this mod run. So we're going to be watching. We're going to continue watching these systems very closely. But just stay safe tonight with that severe weather, especially you guys in the southeast, and have a great day. So that's gonna wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, and subscribe if not subscribed to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. So, enjoy your day today. Enjoy the nice weather while it's lasting for the western U.S. and some parts of the eastern U.S. But we'll definitely continue watching that specific storm in general, and see if that will take any name off the Atlantic hurricane storm list. So we'll see you guys in the next video, and have a great day.